Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning and welcome. It's Nurse Richard the Wax Wizard. Thank you for joining me for two very slurpy ears. I think you're going to enjoy these ones. Some lovely suction sounds in this. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I am the only earwax channel that does regularly or always put the suction sounds in. So hopefully that's a lot of you like that. I know you do. If some don't, then you know where the volume button is, go for it. But this one was a really slurpy, juicy one. This one was two ears from the same chap. He was very blocked up in both of them, as you can probably see.
It's like watching a worm eating a grub,
it is a bit wet and a bit sticky to start with. He'd certainly give it a good oiling, which did help to some extent, but it almost made it a little bit too soft, which is why it just kept coming away in stages. But as we get further in, the wax gets more formed and a little drier, and therefore a bit easier to grab. But at the moment, while you're just working your way in, it's constantly blocking up the tube a little bit, which is why whenever you see me coming away, you know, well, why does he stop there? It's because there's a bit of wax in the tube and you have to go away and get it out. If you're wondering how we do that, you dip it in some water, and usually the water runs through it and clears the blockage. If not, there's a little like a steel rod, or you get some little plastic ones that you literally insert into the tip of the suction tube there, and you can push the blockage through, and that's usually enough. If that doesn't work, then well, you're knackered, you just got to throw it away and get another one. That's quite rare, but you do have to do that, especially with the fine ends, because it's more difficult to unblock the fine ends, with them being a lot smaller, obviously. So you can see it's getting a bit darker and a bit drier as we're working our way in.
It's incredible.
It's been incredibly busy in clinic this week, and certainly probably the last 3-4 months have probably been the busiest I've ever been, to be honest. I've always said I like being busy-ish, but not to a point where I've got too much to do, because the whole reason why I'm not in a public health job is so I can spend more time with the family. So it's always about striking a balance, isn't it? And but it has been incredibly busy. I think there's a few reasons for that. I mean, one of the ones is that there really is nobody else round here who does it, certainly not within a few miles, who does it. So I am the only one in the area for about 10 miles around. There really isn't anybody else who does it, which is good. It's why I put it here. And I believe the local public health service that does it is very slowly cutting back, which a lot are in the UK, unfortunately. So, you know, it used to be freely available in all areas of the UK, free of charge on the NHS, but that's becoming less and less and less now. And it's a bit of a postcode lottery at the moment. Some areas the provision's okay, some there's none. This is quickly becoming one of the ones that it's incredibly difficult. I think the waiting list is something like, I think the minimum time is 4 months for something relatively urgent, which obviously is not long. It's not quick enough for something that's urgent. And I've heard anything from 4 months to a year and a half, unfortunately. So unfortunately for the people who want, after those appointments, are unable to get them, but fortunately for me, they're coming to me, which is good.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't want too many. Just about right. I just want too many. I have always said that, I know I'm not talking about the procedure here, but there's not much you can say about this, is that you can see the wax coming out. It is what it is. But I've always said, because I'm a one-man band, so to speak, you know, if you ring up after an appointment, it's me. I don't have a receptionist. If you send an email, it's me that replies to it. It's not that I'm a bit of a control freak. I'd just rather do everything for myself, to be honest. I think things run better that way when it's just me. I can certainly manage it. Certainly doesn't overwhelm me in any way. I still have plenty of spare time. And I've always said I'm always, even if it gets really, really busy, I'm just still going to leave it at me and just start turning work down. But I'm in two minds about this, because it is getting that busy. I have toyed with the idea, should I take somebody else on? But I've always shied away from it a little bit in the past, because I mean, being responsible for myself is enough, but at the end of the day, being responsible for somebody else is a different matter. You know, if anybody works in health, you'll know this. If you're in a senior posts, if somebody who works underneath you gets something wrong, essentially it's your fault. Which is not how it should go, but often it is, because you have to prove that you've trained them properly and you've put them in a place where they know what they're doing. But I've been considering it, toying with the idea of getting a little bit of help every now and then. And I did have someone in mind. This is just a ramblings, mumblings, thoughts to myself, you know. But I've spoken to a colleague about it who's an NHS trained nurse to a very high level as well, who might well consider helping me out in the future. Maybe the odd weekend clinic, or the odd evening one, which we are toying with the idea anyway. Whether that should appear in the videos or not, I don't know. Like I said, this very early stages. I'm just thinking about it at the moment. I don't know what we would call her if she did choose to apply in the videos, because she's a character. Let me tell you, she's a proper character. She's as mad as a box of frogs, but hilarious, but very skilled. I don't know. Would we call her the Wax Witch? I don't know. Give me your opinions. Give me your ideas in the comments down below. What would you call them? Anyway, it might not happen yet. I don't know. But like I said, it is something I am considering. But I would only ever do it with someone who's a really good, trusted friend, of which she is. But we'll see what happens in the future on that one. Might not be for a long time yet, but it's a possibility. It would be weird though, having somebody sat next to me. Like it would be odd. I'm sure it'll be entertaining for you guys though, because we do have some good banter and we get along very well. So as you can see, just nearing the end of this one. Bit drier in this ear, so it was not quite as slurpy. I've actually changed the angle. I often do this when it's half out of the ear. I often change the angle where I'm kind of coming at it from the side. Suppose if you're looking at the ear that way, it would be coming. Working this out in reverse, it wouldn't be. It's normally like that, but it would actually be pointing towards me to try and get through in that little gap there, in that bend there. And that's what I did there. Sometimes it's easier if you go from the side, you can get the distance judged a bit better. Anyway, I'm waffling again, as per usual. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think any colleague should be called. But for now, I hope you enjoyed that. But for now, take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Ta-da.